You guys ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Welcome, everyone. This is the March 2nd Joliet City Council meeting. Mayor Bob Odekirk presiding. Father Chris Grove from St. Mary Magdalene will do the invocation, after which he will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
God, our Creator, we are so grateful for the many favors you give to us, and we offer our thanks for your many and abundant blessings. God of wisdom and justice, may your enlightenment be with all who are elected to serve in public office. We ask your protection to everyone, national, state, and local. Guide and support our mayor, members of our city council, our city manager, and our city staff. Give them the strength to know your will so that all they do may be done with the desire to please you. God of comfort and healing, hear our prayers for all who are in need, for the sick, for healthcare professionals, for first responders, for researchers, and for scientists. Grant them strength to meet their everyday challenges. Bring your peace to a world surrounded by uncertainty and fear. Give our society the ability to work together to overcome any division. May we all be willing to reach out with a commitment to care for the well-being of all people, in particular our neighbors and for those who are most vulnerable to our COVID-19 virus. We pray to you, our eternal and merciful Lord and God, now and forever. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Father Chris.
We'll begin with roll call. Mayor Odekirk,
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Here.
Councilman Hug. He's here. Councilman Hug,
Here.
Councilman Landy,
Here.
Councilman Morris,
Here.
Councilman Mudrin,
Here.
Councilwoman Quillman,
Here.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Here.
Councilman Turk.
Here.
First on the agenda this evening is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written with the following change? Remove Council Memo 120-21, which is ordinances associated with 1101 North Broadway Street from the agenda.
So moved.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve the agenda as written with the removal of Council Memo 120-21. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Landy.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Next on the agenda is citizens to be heard on agenda items. Is there anyone present that would like to speak on an agenda item this evening? Seeing none, we'll move on to council committee reports. Public Service Committee report.
Public Service Committee met here in the council chambers yesterday at 4:30. In attendance and on the committee was Councilwoman Gavin, Councilman Morris, and myself. Also in attendance were the department heads, Allison Swisher from Public Utilities, and Greg Ruddy from Public Service, and then several other staff members. Yesterday, Mr. Caparelli touched on some of the larger issues during the pre-council, which was a good thing, so we'll make it brief. We looked at 4 contracts. One was safety consulting services, as it was explained yesterday by our city manager. It's basically a program we started several years back. It's actually shown some dividends, and we can track it by the number of days gone on leave for injury or work-related illness is down quite a bit, as Allison had mentioned. So that certainly converts into saved dollars, because if they're at work and not in the hospital, we're not paying the hospital bill, right? So it's paying for itself. It's a good thing. We looked at the lawn mowing services. Of course, we vetted that. Had a professional services agreement for the sanitary sewer and investigation and rehabilitation program we've been running, I think, for 7 years now. And that's what has actually eliminated some of the surcharging, otherwise known as flooding, to residents in some of the more established or older neighborhoods in Joliet where they have a combined sewer. The smoke testing helps, find people that are stabbed into the illegally with their, downspouts and so forth. So that's really been a successful program too. We're really turning around a very, very old, in some parts, very old system over the last 7 years. We had some couple of change order pay estimates, and final payments for snow removal, both of them, for the February 4th and 5th event, as well as the February 15th and 16th. And then, of course, looked at a $36,000, for next year, for the end of this year, 2021, to look at and approve an, extension of the 2020 to 2024 contract to, each year we renew it. We had some ordinances, 2 of them were related to special services area, and just as a reminder to residents, generally when we do the special services area and it has to do with curbs and gutters, that's where you pay, I believe it's $400 maximum if you're a individual home, owner occupied. So that's your portion of payment, which is not a 50-50 in that regard, because improving the streets, rebuilding the street, repaving and redoing the gutters costs, quite a bit. But we create that special services area as part of the process. So it's really just housekeeping. We didn't have anything else. We did have, as everybody read, a number of breaks. We had more breaks by this time this year than we did last year, but last year was an extremely mild winter. We didn't get the kind of sub-zeros that we got for the last 2-3 weeks. But we're still lower than 2019 and 2018. So that's a good indication. We're lower by 15 or 20 breaks. And these breaks were the ones that I think we read about in the media too. And they are on top of the leak on the large diameter main that runs under the river. They're getting that, that's been fixed, and they're actually going to do a complete inspection of the entire line from one side of the river to the other. So essentially, that's what we talked about yesterday. We looked at all the items under all the headings. We discussed them, we vetted them, and all of them were unanimously approved to be sent forward to our full council here with our recommendation as a committee for approval. Terry or Betty, did I miss anything?
No, I don't think we did, sir.
Okay, thank you. Mayor, that's my report.
Thank you.
I show no other reports. Under consent agenda, approval of the minutes. It's recommended the minutes of the combined council meeting held on February 16, 2021, stand approved as recorded. Invoices paid report for December 2020. It's recommended this report be received and placed on file. Council Memo 104-21, position vacancies. It's recommended the city manager be authorized to fill 1 public safety clerk 1 position in the police department and 1 firefighter paramedic position, along with any subsequent vacancies which may occur with these positions. Council Memo 105-21, award of contract for the emergency East Duncan throttle pipe replacement to construction by Camco in the amount of $39,999.99. Council Memo 106-21, a contract extension for the 2020-2022 lawn mowing services program utilities to Berry Landscape Management in the amount of $116,560. Council Memo 107-21, professional services agreement for Department of Public Utilities Safety Consulting Services 2021 with Sheffield Safety and Loss Control in the amount of $177,575. Council Memo 108-21, professional services agreement for the 2021 sanitary sewer investigation rehabilitation program with RJN Group in the amount of $498,788. Council Memo 109-21, change order number 1 for the 2020-2021 snow removal season of the 2020-2024 snow removal contract for the downtown city center area and the commuter lot area to George's Landscaping in the amount of $32,830. and snow systems in the amount of $36,000. Council Memo 110-21, payment for contractor snow removal for the February 4th and 5th, 2021, and February 15th, 16th, 2021 snowstorms to various contractors in the amount of $168,872. It's recommended Council Memos 105-21 through 110-21 be approved. Is there a motion to approve said consent agenda items?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Landy. Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Under licenses and permit applications, Council Memo 112-21, issuance of a Class B liquor license at 2941 West Jefferson Street, Wheel and Brew. It's recommended Wheel and Brew be issued a Class B liquor license at 2941 West Jefferson Street.
So moved. Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Landy.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 113-21, transfer of a Class A liquor license at 1115 Plainfield Road, Supermercado Los Palmos. It's recommended Supermercado Los Palmos be issued a Class A liquor license at 1115 Plainfield Road.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Landy. Motion carried. Council Memo 114-21, transfer of a Class B liquor license at 1530 Commerce Lane, Heroes West Sports Grill. It's recommended Heroes West Sports Grill be issued a Class B liquor license.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Landy.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 115-21, transfer of a Class B liquor license at 4200 West Jefferson Street for Joe's Bar. It's recommended Joe's Bar be issued a Class B liquor license.
Question, Mayor?
Yes,
Our memo here says Class A. Has it been changed?
no, the liquor commissioner noted that yesterday in her comments.
Okay, all right. Sorry, thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Oh, aye.
Sorry. Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Landy.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next are public hearings. The first public hearing this evening is Council Memo 117-21, an ordinance establishing the 2021 Joliet Special Service Area Number 1, Charity Avenue, Knoll Avenue to 120 foot east of Helen Avenue, and Helen Avenue, Doris Avenue to Charity Avenue. This is a public hearing, so comments would be in order at this time.
All right, we'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone who wants to speak on this topic?
Let the record show the hearing is now closed. Is there a motion to approve Council Memo 117-21, an ordinance establishing the 2021 Joliet Special Service Area Number 1, Charity Avenue, Helen Avenue?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Landy.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
The next public hearing is Council Memo 118-21, An ordinance establishing the 2021 Joliet Special Service Area Number 2, Harwood Street, Sterling Avenue to Cass Street. This is a public hearing, so comments would be in order at this time.
Does anybody wants to speak on this item?
Let the record show the hearing is now closed. Is there a motion to approve Council Memo 118-21, ordinance establishing the 2021 Joliet Special Service Area Number 2, Harwood Street?
So moved.
Second?
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Turk,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Hug,
Aye.
Councilman Landy, Councilman Morris, Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Motion carried. Moving on under ordinances. Council Memo 120-21. This was previously removed from the agenda. Next is Council Memo 121-21. Ordinance declaring certain properties as public nuisances. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Hug,
Aye.
Councilman Landy, Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 122-21, an ordinance accepting an easement associated with the Garnsey Avenue over Spring Creek Bridge Improvement Project. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug,
Aye.
Councilman Landy, Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Turk,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 123-21, an ordinance amending Chapter 23 and establishing Article 4, Payment in lieu of taxes, pilot program, Section 23-65, truck terminal facilities of the Code of Ordinances. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So
Before we vote, I have a couple questions. Jim, a couple years ago, one of the city managers, I'm not sure which one, put together kind of like a spreadsheet on what the city was receiving in property taxes from the different warehouses all over Joliet. Just so I'm clear, this is not going to eat, because it was several $1 million. This is something on top of the property taxes we already receive, is that correct?
Yes.
Right, could you explain that again?
What it is each stall will be charged, so however many trucks, if they have 10 trucks there, there'll be a fee associated with those 10 truck parking spots for new businesses, so that transient terminals, and this pertains to both, or warehouses, will be able to recapture some of the revenue that we spend on street repairs and all the other things that we have to pay for. So the citizens of Joliet aren't just paying for transient companies rolling in and out, and we aren't getting any revenue or jobs. So we want to be able to make sure that we're made whole and that we're not losing money by hosting these facilities here in the
I
city.
think it's a good idea, thank you. And Councilman Hug, I think this came through your committee.
Yeah, we worked on it with Derek. Derek worked very hard on this, as did Terry, and of course, Burke came on in recent months. Yeah, this is a way of getting, as Mr. Caparelli's already kind of explained there, Mayor, this is a way of us getting more value out of these properties than what a tin building usually kind of gets, concrete tin building, because the use is much heavier than the building would justify. So this was really good. I wish I could take credit for it, but I gotta give credit to Derek for coming up with the idea, and we talked, and the committee talked, and we put it together.
Very good, I think it's a great idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Kudos to Derek.
Yes.
There was a motion, is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve Council Memo 123-21, an ordinance amending Chapter 23 and establishing Article 4, Payment in lieu of taxes, pilot program, Section 23-65, truck terminal facilities of the Code of Ordinances. Councilman Landy,
Aye.
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Turk,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is Council Memo 124-21, An ordinance amending Chapter 23 and establishing Article 4, Payment in lieu of taxes pilot program, Section 23-64, truck parking of the Code of Ordinances. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
Mayor?
Yes.
I just wanted to comment, since you had brought it up and we explained it a little bit. I want the residents to understand that, on this, it says tax, but it's a tax on something that everybody can accept, and that's the logistics of the transportation trucking industry. The economic development that the council has put together and approved over the last 5 to 6 years is the reason why our portion of the property tax bill and other taxes have been so stable. The economic development, at least since your first term as mayor, started in 2015, has, been almost $2 billion. Well, I think it might be $2 billion right now. We'll have Derek, he did send me a spreadsheet. And it's been largely industrial, but there's also been some commercial / retail. Much less residential, but that's common everywhere. Plus, we really had an imbalance over the years that developed where we had way too many houses versus commercial and industrial. And we're kind of evening out that formula. But this is why we can keep the budget stable and the taxes stable and not have to raise the taxes on the residents themselves. I just wanted to point that out.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve Council Memo 124-21, an ordinance amending Chapter 23 and establishing Article 4, Payment in lieu of taxes pilot program, Section 23-64, truck parking of the Code of Ordinances. Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Landy. Motion carried. Council Memo 125-21, an ordinance adding Chapter 26, Article 10, Section 26-211, mailboxes, ordinance of the Code of Ordinances. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Landy. Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 126-21, an ordinance amending Chapter 32, Article 1, Section 32-13, laser sites ordinance of the Code of Ordinances. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Landy. Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Under resolutions, Council Memo 128-21, a resolution authorizing a home subrecipient agreement between Will County and the City of Joliet. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Landy. Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is Council Memo 129-21, a resolution approving an honorary street name for Timothy D. Bailey, MD, on Grant Street between Wilson Avenue and Baker Avenue. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Landy. Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
We do have members of the Bailey family here that would like to speak a few words.
Sure, why don't you step up?
Good afternoon.
Aye, Colleen.
My name is Colleen Bailey. I'm Dr. Bailey's mother. First of all, I would like to give all glory and honor to God, who has made this possible. To Mayor Bob Odenkirk, to all city council members, family, and friends. Today marks a very special day. All throughout the beginning of the year 2021, history has been celebrated around the United States of America. Some positive, some not so positive. This history is positive. Ecclesiastes 3:1-2 states, "For everything there is a season, a time to be born, and a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to harvest." This could not have been a better time for the city of Joliet to allow my son, Dr. Timothy D. Bailey, to become part of history. This sign represents a seed that has been planted in the community in which Tim loved. There are also recipients who will remember Tim that received UIC Bailey Scholars under the United in Excellence Scholarship Program. Within and outside the community, Tim's name will travel near and far. Dr. Bailey lived by the quote, "The dictionary is the only place where success comes before work." City of Joliet, you have not only blessed my family, you have spoken to the community. This community along with my family have plans to prosper, plans for hope, and plans for a future, according to Jeremiah 29:11. Thank you, and God bless each and every one of you.
Thank you.
My name is Natalie Coleman, and I'm honored to stand before you all today. Timothy was my god brother, and the primary reason I went on to U of I and majored in chemistry. I'd like to thank the city of Joliet. I want to thank Ms. Bailey for allowing me to be a part of this. Thank my parents for bringing the Bailey family into our lives. And Timothy was many, many things, and I think this is one of the greatest honors. As a resident growing up on the east side of Joliet, as a product of Joliet schools, I think this is an excellent way to show that Joliet, the city of Joliet, believes that representation matters. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor,
Yes.
as I said at the land use meeting when we passed this, I had the pleasure of meeting Dr. Bailey at a National Hookup for Black Women meeting. Betty, were you there that day?
Yes.
Yes. And he was talking about how important women's health is, but especially blood pressure in the African American community. Very down-to-earth man, very smart, and just a wonderful person to meet. I didn't get to talk to him too much, but I want you to know, and forgive me, Miss Bailey, but he passed away catching a terrible disease, doing volunteer work in another country. That's how dedicated that this man was. Life was too short, but God must have had a different plan for him upstairs. So just wanted to say that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome, Colleen.
Next on the agenda is Council Memo 130-21, a resolution authorizing the conveyance of Neighborhood Stabilization Program property at 201 South Ottawa Street. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second. It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Landy.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Next is the city manager's report.
Very briefly, Mayor, I'd like to touch upon some of the things that Councilman Hug mentioned, which was the infrastructure for the water. We continue to work on that. We need to work on that. Lake Michigan water here, we have to get that under control, the amount of seepage that we have. So we certainly have our work cut out for us. This is an ongoing problem, and we can continue to see more of this going forward. But we're hoping to get a lot of this stuff finished and complete so that we'll be in full compliance. Additionally, I'd like to touch on the fact that the police department is going to give out they've opened up their examinations for police officers, so folks who are looking for a career in law enforcement, and I would encourage you to really apply. I believe that it's imperative that we're trying to hire people who want to be, there's a lot of changes going on in the way we do policing, and I would look for and hope that individuals who are looking forward to helping us accomplish that and being members of the community and being part of our law enforcement team here in Joliet, which is great, go ahead and take that step and apply to be a Joliet police officer. So please, if you know anybody who's interested, please have them come down and fill out an application. We'd like to cast the broadest net as possible to get as many qualified, top-notch candidates as we can. The citizens deserve that. So that concludes my report.
Along those lines, if I could follow up, and Herb, you could speak to this. The Police and Fire Board has been very aggressive the last 5 years in recruitment for both police and fire jobs. With COVID, it's a little bit different now. We don't have the community forums, the type of things that you guys were going to. But I think at the next meeting, I can invite someone from the Police and Fire Board to come and maybe spread the word here at a meeting and may give the council some ideas of what they're trying to do. There was a perception for a long time that it wasn't a fair system to get hired as a Joliet police or fireman. It's not the case anymore. And Herb, again, you were part of the board that really broke through that. So I think at the next meeting, I'd like to have police and fire board members here, and they could talk about what their strategies are moving forward as far as recruitment and getting as many people as possible to take the test. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Next is new business, not for final action or recommendation.
I'm sorry, Terry? Larry?
Yeah, just quickly, I just wanted to make a personal comment. First of all, Mrs. Bailey and Miss Bailey, I didn't have the honor to meet your son, your godfather. I have familiarized myself with him since this had come up, and I was nothing short of impressed. And there's some comments I want to make about what's happening within our society, but I wanted to preface it by saying we don't have enough Dr. Timothy Baileys here right now. What he did, I mean, it was about love. It was about commitment. And to me, I wish I'd had the honor to meet him. I say that because it made me think of it. I was listening this morning on our local radio station, WJOL, and there was a news article, a segment. And it made me think, we've got to stop this as a society, both locally, state, and national, whether it's political, whether it's religious, whatever it is. This vitriol, this hatred, this gotcha, this constant verbal attacks on each other. The story was about, and maybe some of you had heard it, there was a dog that was found in the field nearby. Scott Slocum, the morning host, I didn't hear him say where it was, but it was local, who was zip-tied around his mouth. All four of his paws were zip-tied. He had been there, it was later determined, at least 12 to 18 hours, if not longer. And he was put there by a woman who had decided that this female puppy couldn't have litters anymore. So it was, and it makes me shudder to say it, it was coyote bait, a living animal, and it was saved. This is what this vitriol and hatred, this is what it's bringing us to. These types of acts are becoming more common, and more people seem to just shrug at it or find it acceptable. Let's stop it in society. That's just a personal plea. And let's follow the example of Dr. Bailey about giving and not taking. I really do. And again, I wish I had had the honor, Mrs. Bailey, to meet your son. He's one hell of an example for every person, especially all the children. Moving through school, into college, like yourself, and you and I, with your godfather. So that's just my comments, Mayor. Godbrother, I'm sorry. Well, thank you. And I was doing so well.
You were.
But I sincerely mean it. I wish I had met him, and that's one, I'm glad. We may have honored him, but he honored the city.
Thank you. Jan?
Well, didn't have anything, but it was brought to my attention today that the animal lovers and the rescue people have noticed that the furry babies is no longer in the mall. And we all know that furry babies, some of them have, puppy mill breeders, such as the dog that was found tied up was a breeder dog, whether it was private or commercial. So they were asking if we would revisit that and maybe put a moratorium on any animal businesses where they sell puppies or any type of dog, because of the fact right now during COVID, so many people have had to give up their dogs and the shelters are bursting. and others just can't afford to keep them. So they were wondering if we could revisit that and put a moratorium on it. That's all I have.
Okay. Mike?
Nothing.
Herb? Pat?
No.
Sherry?
No, thank you.
Eddie? I had one issue, and if Chief Blaski could come out. I've been hearing a lot of questions the last week or so about what's happened to Joliet West. It appears that our efforts with the volunteers have kind of stalled. Could you give us an update, Chief, what's going on?
Certainly. Good evening, Mayor and Council. To date, we've given 11,225 first dose vaccines, whether they be Moderna or Pfizer, and we are just north of 400 second doses. Starting this week, we gave 200 first doses and 200 second doses and 650 first doses. However, the remainder of the week, we do not have access to any first dose, whether it be Pfizer or Moderna. We have been told that throughout the remainder of the week, we will not receive any more first vaccines. We are going to continue to do second dose vaccines. We will do 200 tomorrow through Thursday, and then Friday we have 1,200 second dose vaccines that we will be doing. And again, we are hopeful that we can get some of the current doses, whether Moderna, Pfizer, or now that the third vendor in Johnson & Johnson has been released.
A couple questions. Do we know, or you have an idea if the doses that you were getting at Joliet West are being reallocated, or is it just that the county doesn't have them?
I don't know if there's a supply chain issue, but the county has said that there's no more first doses for us, certainly through the end of this week. And again, we are ready to go. I would be remiss if I didn't thank Dr. Strokamp and Amita District 204, which has been a great partner. The 2 fire locals that have been there every day for us, our retired firefighters that are showing up, our local nurses, including Councilwoman Glowman, they have been there for us every day to help us get through this process. All we need is more vaccinations.
All right, number 2, just so we're clear, you guys were not just inoculating Joliet residents.
That's
From
correct.
all over Will County.
Anyone from Will County that signed up, they were welcome to come.
All right, do we know, I know Walgreens, I've heard stories about other places, but there's no other location that was dealing with the numbers that you guys were dealing with at Joliet West.
Silver Cross Hospital was on par with numbers that we were doing as well.
Okay.
So it's a bit of a friendly competition to see who can do more, but we would like to see as many as we can.
Very good.
Certainly with the Johnson & Johnson, which is a single source, a single vaccination, we would love to get that so we can move forward quickly.
And then one final question. Do you fear with the layoff or the backing off now that you're going to lose your volunteers, or has there been any waiver in the commitment?
There has been no waiver from our group. They want to see this happen within our community. They want to stay the course, and they want to finish the job.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Chief, I have one question.
Sir.
Is the first dose composition different than the second dose, or is it all the same?
It's basically the same.
It's just the second dose is
It's just a titer to take you to the higher level. I believe that giving
the 2 compositions are identical, I would imagine, right?
very close, yes,
Thank you, sir.
certainly.
I was just going to say that I know that the state numbers right now are 288,000 is what they're expecting to get doses statewide. Additionally, they're on track to get 83,000 of the Johnson & Johnson 1-dose vaccines. We don't know when or what our allotment, or if we'll even get an allotment of that, but that's what the state is going to get this week for allotments. That's all I can tell you. So,
Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome.
Next is public comments. First is Jerry Hervey.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. Looks like y'all all getting along a lot better. There's no more tension in here as it was before. So, we appreciate y'all. We appreciate the work you do, even though a lot of people don't show it to you. But you gotta constantly be mindful that y'all are always being watched. Your mannerisms, everything you say, everything you do. And everything can't always be explained away. You know what I mean? So try to be mindful of the public and what people's opinions may be. But I'm really here to wonder, how did the chief of police get out of this door with a bump in pay, and the city council and the mayor knew nothing about it? Again, he spent all of his time here putting y'all through all of this nonsense. He never attended a single city council meeting to where nobody can ask him a question, and he just goes around you with the other city manager and does what he feels like he wants to do. So do y'all feel like that is appropriate for taxpayers to be on the hook for this guy's bump and pay for the rest of his retirement, even though he's cost you millions of dollars in lawsuits and God knows how much grief? Then, Caparelli, I was really high on you. You had a chance to draw a line in the sand with Darrell Gavin, and you didn't do it. It was no reason he should have gotten that money. They should have been given nothing more than a ticket out this door for all the problems that they caused in their positions. You didn't promise them anything, so you were not obligated to give him anything. He could have simply went back to being a sergeant, or he could leave under them terms. So I went back to the city council meeting when you were approved, right? And Ms. Gavin stood up and said, she had her reservations, but as long as you would do what you agreed that you said you would do, she would vote in your favor, right? So then when this comes up about Darrell Gavin, what am I thinking? That this is what she was talking about. Because no matter what happened, her sole intent was to make sure that her nephew was taken care of. And the taxpayers they should not be on the hook for that. So now what are you going to do with Rosado and Mark Reed? Because sure enough, as the other two got it, they're coming. So now what is the council going to do? What I'd like y'all to do is write a letter to the police and pension board telling them to deny the raise because he shouldn't have got it to begin with. If you think about all the grief that y'all got for the stuff that they've done, who the hell wants to put up with that? Y'all came in here twice a month listening to a million people complaints, including me on top of it, to add, to all of this stress, and he goes out the door and get a bump in pay? That's just something for you to think about. Y'all made progress, but you don't want to go back to that, and you got, citizens who actually care about their tax dollars. But how do they do it? If you don't do it for one, you got to do it for all. If you're not going to do it for the entire police department, then don't do it for none of them. That's all I got for you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak under public comments this evening? Seeing none, next is mayor and council comments.
Terry?
Nothing really. I just wanted to make sure that those that are interested in coming to the land use and legislative meeting, committee members, is it March 10th?
Yes.
March 10th, because we sometimes accuse of people not being notified. But check your listings to make sure, because I believe it's 4 o'clock, Jan, heard?
4 o'clock is right.
4 o'clock, March 10th. One of our agenda items will be the police issue. I don't know what you want to call it, review board, reform, whatever it is. So I know last time we was accused of no one knowing. They were at the meeting, but no one knew about the meeting. So we'll figure that. That's all I have.
Thank you. Larry?
Yeah, I would like, Mr. Herbie made a good point, and I was going to ask this anyways, and I think it's something we ultimately, have to do in executive session. I would like to ask the city manager and the legal counsel to look into the deal, particularly for the former chief, because I only know what I read in the newspaper, in the patch, and it says it goes beyond what was allowed in the ordinance for that position and that scale of pay. Could you look over that and get back to us in the council on if it was appropriate or not for that, to have been done, and whether we should be reversing it?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jim? Mike?
Nothing.
Herb?
No.
Deb?
I'd just also like to thank everybody that's volunteering at Joliet West, and I'm assume they're all volunteers at Silver Cross Hospital. And thank you for everything you're doing, and hope all of you can get more vaccinations to give out here in the very, very near future.
Great. Sherry?
Just adding to that, everyone is so grateful for the people that have gotten it. They're so grateful and they feel so good about it. I just hope we can keep this rolling.
Betty?
Yes, Mayor. I would like to send a great big thank you out to the Smith family, YMCA. They are leaving our community on the east side. They have been such a stable part of the east side when it comes to recreation. We all know that recreation is one of the main points in improving the quality of life. So they're closing the Smith family site on Briggs, and they're combining with Gallowitz. But I just wanted to send a big thank you for everything that they've done here on the east side of Joliet. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I have two items. Number one, it's been reported, I suffered a pretty bad injury falling on the ice last Monday. I do want to thank everyone at St. Joe's. What a terrific, horrible experience, but a terrific experience at St. Joe's. From the surgeons, the doctors, the nurses, the staff. First-rate care. I can't say enough about all that they did for myself and my family. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, last Tuesday was the State of the City speech. It was scheduled to be given. I do it annually. My understanding is there were several hundred people that were either, there's going to be a small group in attendance, and then we had signed up for Zoom. We had to cancel it on Tuesday. I am happy to say it's been rescheduled for March 22nd at 11 o'clock. We'll do it at the Holiday Inn on Larkin Avenue. And again, I don't know what the protocols will be then. I think maybe 50 people live, and then it's available over Zoom. I'm going to promote it because it's a good speech, not because I'm giving it, but because we talk about a lot about the history that happened in this last year in our city, and also delve into the finances and where the city's at financially as we're starting to come out of COVID. So a lot of really good information. I think a lot of real positive information. And I'm looking forward to giving that speech again. March 22nd, the Chamber of Commerce is hosting that. If you go to their website, you can sign up, and we'll go from there. So again, thank you to everyone at St. Joe's. Thank you to the council people that reached out to me and the city staff. And that's all we have. Do we have executive session tonight?
No, there's no executive session.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motion and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.